subscribe to any Substack publication. Nobody. Okay. Substack, just to stop here just for a very, very brief second. The way Substack works is anybody can publish on there. When it comes to freedom of speech and censorship, they're very, very free. They don't censor anything. The publishers keep the email addresses. Substack does not keep the email addresses. So the email address list that I have for my publication is mine, and I do what I want with it. Yes, ma'am?
What is Substack?
Right. I'm getting it's a publishing platform,
Okay.
and instead of you going to a website to see somebody's blog, whenever they publish something, it goes straight to your inbox. It's an email newsletter publishing system. It's very, very convenient, and the publishers can decide how much content they put out there for free and how much content they put out there for various tiers, and they have a charging system in there as well. COVID hit, and I became delightfully unemployed. And I decided that I wanted to take something that had been a hobby and try to turn it into some sort of money-making project, if not some sort of other project. And the name of the newsletter, Drop the Needle. When I was a music major, we would have to pass what are called drop the needle tests, where there would be this list of music we would need to listen to, and then we'd go in for the test, and the professor would just drop a needle on an old vinyl record somewhere, and we'd have to tell them what piece of music that was, right? The point is that as a music major, there's a certain body of music out there that we need to be familiar with. We at least need to be able to tell the difference between Mozart and Bach and Beethoven, etc., right? We don't necessarily need to know, like, is this the second movement from Brahms' Second Symphony or Brahms' Third Symphony? There are some people out there who can do that like that. That's not me, but it's not quite that brutal. And so I had been working on a system of a list of music that I felt I needed to listen to regularly. And I just checked yesterday, that list is up to 15,000 minutes of music, and that basically barely scratches the surface. I listen to that much music at least once a year in a very organized manner. I got Drop the Needle going. I'm going to show you a little bit more about how it's formatted and all of that. And through a contact that I met when Million Cups was at Launch and Go in Peachtree City, I paid for, I have a community on Facebook. You can find Drop the Needle on Facebook. You can also find us at droptheneedle.substack.com. Anybody can subscribe there. And also, if you, anybody who sends an email to Arcana Aviation, ARCAAVIATION, there's two A's in the middle, arcanaaviation@gmail.com. Send me an email, any email address in there, I will gift you guys a lifetime subscription to Drop the Needle. I have a community on Facebook of about 1,200, 1,300 followers to the Drop the Needle group on Facebook. None of that converted over to subscriptions. None of it. So the ask is, what can you guys do as a community? I need help driving subscribership. I need help driving subscriptions. I know airplanes, right? I have a picture up here of the cockpit of a Boeing 767. I know that. The business page on Facebook just terrifies me. That part of things I don't know, and I'm willing to pay for it, but there needs to be like some sort of return of investment that makes sense, that's not outrageous. One curious thing about the Facebook group, for some reason it's almost 2-to-1 female, and I don't have an explanation for that. I don't really think that this publication particularly has a lot of feminine energy about it. I never really put that much thought into it, but it's just 2-to-1 female. So taking a step back for just a second, the basic point of Drop the Needle, even though it's specific to music, is that art matters. This is something, I see a lot of heads nodding, this is something that this crowd intuitively knows. And just to drive that point home, I challenge anybody in this room to point to anything they can see in this room or outside of this room that an artist of some kind was not involved somehow, right? The fabric of this shirt, the buttons, the font on that fire alarm thing, that fan that's going backwards for some reason, the brewing equipment back there that I'm insanely curious about, the design on the cans of beer in that fridge, and the cans themselves, right? All of this park, and even these trees that were picked by a landscape designer, right? All of it is designed by an artist. Art matters. And art that, and entrepreneurship itself is art. The ideas themselves are art. And like at the patent office, you have to reference prior art, right? That's what they're talking about. And when you go to develop these ideas, and when you go to try to get these ideas and bring people to your idea, that involves artists, it involves web designers, it involves photographers, it involves musicians with fonts and templates and all that stuff. All of that is art. And so with Drop the Needle, the point in the beginning is that there's music that people just need to be familiar with. And I don't know if this is going to work or not, but who watches The Righteous Gemstones on HBO? Yeah, it's terrific, terrific television. For those of you who don't like Danny McBride, this is Danny McBride at his best. He's really, really wonderful in this show. But the title sequence, which I was going to try to get on the TV there, it's more of a title card. It's very, very brief. And let's see if this is going to work here. Did you guys hear that? Okay. The question is, where does that music come from? Does anybody know where that music comes from? And how does it contribute to the story? Right? That music is actually from a requiem by a French composer by the name of Hector Berlioz, who is quoting Mozart. Right? Like some people, like in some literature, people quote Shakespeare and quote, that's a quotation right there. And it contributes to the storytelling because in the TV show, The Righteous Gemstones are not very religious at all. They're kind of borrowing religion to be greedy, right? And Hector Berlioz is kind of doing the same thing with this music. That's just one example of why it's important to be familiar with music. So, and when it comes to music, there's some music that's being written out there it's here for 5 minutes and then nobody cares about it anymore, right? But there's some music that's been around literally for centuries. The music of Dufay, the music of Palestrina, the music of Thomas Tallis. We're still listening to this stuff, right? And it's important because, and even with Mozart and Beethoven and Brahms and all of these other composers, if we're still listening to it, the reason we are is because it is speaking to something that is fundamentally true about the human condition, right? That's partly what makes it important. That's also partly what makes it important to be familiar with. And so I've published 74 issues since May of 2001. It used to come out on a weekly basis. Now it comes out on a monthly basis. This is the first issue, right? So if you were to get this in an email, this is what the email would look like from top to bottom. Originally, the idea was that you were going to listen to more or less the music I was listening to that week. So you have up at the top Dvorak, Karg, Ellert, William H. Harris, Louis Vierne, Mahler, Roland Martin, Oliverio, and Roybke. So how many of you recognize any names up there? Dvorak and Mahler, right? Okay. There's another name up there, Oliverio. There's a reason why we should be familiar with that. He's from Atlanta. He's still alive. The piece of music that was featured in this issue was premiered here in Atlanta and references the '96 Olympics and all kinds of stuff like that. the idea was that I would briefly describe some of the music. If you could scroll down. It's stopping there?
Yeah.
Can you reload it?
Well, because I don't think I have the
So what would come beneath this is a tag about the composer, the year he died or she, the year they were born, the year they died, their nationality, and then the name of the piece of music, and then there would be a link to a YouTube performance of that piece of music. Go ahead and go to the other. And one of the problems with that is the idea is that the subscriber would have like this as an open tab on their browser, and as they would work one afternoon or one morning, they just go in and listen to this music as they were able to. Substack shows the publishers what links people click on, and nobody was clicking on anything. The click-through rate was very, very poor. And so, over the years, this is what it has evolved to. 3 composers, 3 pieces of music. It starts off with a quotation, and if you could scroll down, I'm associating this music with art, right? So what Drop the Needle is doing right now is it's going through a series on the evolution of the symphony, not the symphony as an ensemble, but the symphony as a form of a piece of music. So, and this issue is about symbolist movements, how the symbolist movement affected the symphony. It starts off with a piece of art that kind of correlates to the entire issue, and there's a blurb there about why that piece of art relates to it. Then there's an introduction. Sometimes there's an introduction to the entire issue, and a call to action to click on that Spotify playlist. Now, instead of just YouTube, that fly likes you. That fly isn't bothering me at all. Yeah. And the reason I wasn't in and if it's warm in here, it's because that fan's going backwards. It would be cooler in here if that fan were going forwards. So this playlist right here, if you want to listen to the music in an issue, all of it is in that Spotify playlist, right? However much there could be 2 hours worth of music, there could be 7 hours worth of music, whatever it is, it's there. And then after that, you can scroll down. Then we get into pieces of art that are specific to each piece. This is Debussy's Prelude to the Afternoon of a Faun. There is an article about it. There's something to read. I figured people would rather read than listen. Keep scrolling down. A picture of the composer. He's a handsome fella, isn't he? There's a YouTube performance. Then there's a specific Spotify performance, and I'm highlighting who the musicians are, who the ensembles are. And then lather, rinse, and repeat for the other 2. And then at the bottom there is a call to subscribe. That's Russian composer Scriabin. And there's Schoenberg. This one has a call to comment at the end. And so that's the format of Drop the Needle right now. My focus has been on content, focusing on what I know instead of focusing on what I need help with, which is growing subscribership. And I think that's all I got. So I'm ready for your, got my flak jacket on. Thank you so much.
Thank you. All right.
He already told us what he needs help with. I have a couple of questions. First of all, I love music. I love having music on. I'm very bad at knowing who I'm listening to, or like I sit in my kitchen or I stand in my kitchen at night ready to make dinner, and I say, Alexa, play. Who do I want to listen to? Like, I have a playlist that I subscribe to, and it's called Grits and Catfish, and I'm like, Alexa, play that, and then it just plays music that I know I enjoy, and I don't really know what I'm listening to, but I know that it speaks to me in some way. I actually really enjoy classical music. I would never be able to tell you what song it is. it amazes me though, because now like we have, my daughter loves Taylor Swift like every other little girl. And we found a piano Taylor Swift like bedtime playlist. The first note, and she knows exactly what song it is. It's amazing to me that she has that kind of, and we've also had her enrolled in music class since she was 4 months old, but still, like, it just amazes me. So I think it's really great that you're offering this music education. I love, first of all, the quote, art matters, like, and everything that you described in the room being created by artists is just such a beautiful way of appreciating everything around us. So I appreciate that as an artist. And I know the other artists in the room feel the same way. You said that, well, I have so many questions. One, how do you choose the art to go with the piece?
ChatGPT.
Really?
Yeah, I know nothing about art. I literally asked it. I have this
Hey, there's art in that too.
newsletter. I have this newsletter, and it's got these pieces. Can you suggest a piece of art? And there's a problem with it if we want to talk about that, because sometimes this is where it hallucinates. Hallucination in generative AI means it's getting something wrong. It's telling you something that doesn't actually exist. It hallucinates the most. It has sent me down more rabbit holes looking for art that doesn't exist, asking it this question. Yeah, the Prelude to the Afternoon of a Faun, the Debussy at the top, I had to go through 3 before I finally found a work of art that actually exists. It was like picking, well, it was just wrong.
Yeah.
But I use ChatGPT because I know nothing about visual art. And the reason I throw art in there is because art and music can be expressed in so many similar ways, and I can show you how all of this is kind of cathedral-like and church window-like, and how that relates to the piece of music. And there are ways of describing the music and the art in the same way that helps roll things over in the mind, that you can hear things that you wouldn't hear otherwise.
That's awesome. I'm going to pass the mic on, but there was one other thing that you said that is quote-unquote bothering me, and that is that you think people would rather read than listen. But the whole premise of the website is what to listen to. I also feel along those lines like this could be a beautiful podcast of you talking through all of this, playing the pieces, even pieces of the pieces, right? And then driving people to the site to be able to subscribe for more information. But with that, I'm going to pass the mic.
Yeah.
Feel free to comment on that.
And my wife tells me I have the voice for it. The issue there is getting the mechanical rights to put the music in a podcast. A project that I'm going to be working on later this month is a kind of like YouTube reaction videos, but instead of reaction, it's analysis. It's me and another conductor in Atlanta, and there's like a YouTube window, picture-in-picture there of a performance of something, and we actually analyze it as it's being performed. I want to give that a shot.
Yeah, that's really good.
All right, one question, I have several. First, I would like to know, could you tell me again the number of people you have in your current community?
It's I looked at it yesterday. It's between 12 and 1,300 are on the Facebook. It's 1,255. 2 to 1 female, 200 to 300 impressions and reaches, usually less than 24 engagements whenever I post advertisements on there about upcoming issues and such.
Have you considered utilizing your current community in creating a survey and understanding what is required by them to transfer over to a subscription model?
I have asked that question in the publication, and nobody responds to it.
My question is, with your current community, what is your current values?
Current.
What is your current value? What I mean by is, why would they remain with you? 1,200 is with you for a reason. So what value are you providing to the community?
I could publish more content in the Facebook group that's specific to that group to get more engagement there. I'm scared to, because I don't know, like I said before, I don't know what I'm doing. I think I know what I'm doing, but when I go to do something, it just flops so spectacularly that I could service that all I'm doing on the Facebook group is putting advertisements on there about subscribe to drop the needle. Occasionally, like I found a terrific performance of this really young, amazing performer who was playing the snot out of a Prokofiev toccata on piano. It's just absolutely mind-blowing. When I find stuff like that, I put that there too. And I say like something like, this is how you own a performance. This is how you just own it completely. I'll put stuff like that up there occasionally.
Okay, my final question is this. Since you have, let's say, a proposed subscription model, if I wanted to apply, do you have it all set up currently?
If you go to droptheneedle.substack.com, there is subscription models up there. Subscriptions start at $5 a month. But I'm not putting any premium content up there because I have no paid subscribers.
One more comment. An incentive would be if the first 15 or so people would come into your model for free without the $5 to create some type of flow and energy. Let the first 15 just like Jason offered us these t-shirts that we're gonna learn here in a minute. You know, they're free, right? And people move with freedom, especially when it's free, and then others will look at it and get jealous and say, well, why were they not I?
And if I could figure out what content to put on what side of the paywall, then I'm totally game for that.
Thank you.
Initially, it was like I would randomly pick issues that were behind a paywall, and it wasn't driving subscriptions at all.
Okay, I'm gonna try to talk outside of my little box here, Jason. Jason's the marketing guy. I'm like, okay. So, I don't know, you're asking primarily about marketing and how to increase your subscribers. I don't know, in my brain, I narrowed it down to like 3 groups. There's me, who, I'm your toughest audience, because I don't think I already know what kind of music I like. I have my really lengthy playlist too. I guess it leaves, if you want to reach people like me who are like, why? Why would I want to do this? I don't know, you may want to put a what's in it for me approach, like why should I be listening to classical music? You said a few times, I have to listen to this. And I'm like, why? Oh, because it makes you smarter. Oh, because it's great to meditate too. So if you're gonna try to reach people like me who are like, I have kids, I have my playlist, what's in it for me might be a good approach. And then I thought, okay, what's the next, what's an easier group to reach? And you nailed it. What about the artist? I love the point that Jason said, art matters. Get with Roger here and his wife Charlene, who run Face. You get artists together, correct? And see if you can get with, I don't know what publications you have, but start approaching artist groups. And then the absolute easiest group, and I think it's so funny, because while I'm your worst group probably, because I'm like, I don't have the time, I already know what I like. My stepmother may be your biggest fan. I've got to, before you leave, I need to figure out how to send her a link to subscribe.
Send me her email address to arcanaaviation@gmail.com. I'll set her up.
I will do it, and I'll let her know she's coming. Here's why she's just gonna eat this up and read every word and click on everything. She was on the board of directors for the Columbia Symphony in South Carolina. And once she left the board of the symphony, she became a docent at the Columbia Museum of Art. So when you did the music stuff and then showed, I was more attracted to the paintings. That's what attracts me. When you showed those gorgeous paintings, so, you know, I don't know, maybe you need to reach out to symphony boards and museums and see if they'll put a little link for you on their websites. That's the lowest hanging fruit, finding the people who share your interest. The other one I thought of is my college student goes to Middle Tennessee State University.
Yeah.
Yep, right by Nashville, huge music department. He actually made a D in intro to music because he's an engineer. But oh my gosh, if you could get on with those professors And those professors make an assignment, hey kids, read this once a month. Because my gosh, it seems genius.
Thanks. And Substack also has a way of driving like studio subscriptions as well for all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, all of that's wonderful.
Yeah, one thing you mentioned, it's maybe a bit off topic, but it will definitely help you. I'm very enthusiastic about everything AI, and I heard that a lot of your kind of searches for art in that matter goes wrong because it gives you like false information. So few small tips, and that's something that everybody can use, by the way, is the first one is you have to tell AI, repeat my question. That improves by at least 25% the accuracy of the answer, surprisingly enough, because they allocate only enough kind of computing power, to answer your question, but when you ask it to repeat it, it kind of reconsider the resources it needs to use to answer you. So that's a nice trick over there. Another thing you can do is ask it, after it gives you the answer, to verify that this answer is actually correct. So you kind of assigning another computing power into the answer, making sure that it's actually correct. And the best thing to do, and that's something, by the way, Jason, I would love to, if any holes here and there, I would love to give like a little bit talk about how everybody can use it for their own business and such on. You can train a bot. And training a bot, something that is very easy to do. Most people are missing that. This is the highlight. This is the best thing to do with ChatGPT. You've got to be subscribed to that, but it's worth it, in my opinion, for everybody. So you can train a bot and tell the bot, only use resources that are approved by you, resources that are known to give you reliable information. At that point, there is zero space, for mistakes. So give it a try.
Thanks for that.
Sure.
I think one thing that's bothering me is the art being found by AI. As an artist, I feel like you should collaborate with an artist that would provide you with the art that matches, and it will be a collaboration. Especially because it's such a personal, it feels like it's a very close community, and you want to trust that. And if everything or some is coming from AI, it just turns me completely off.
Okay.
Just like she said, I opening an art gallery. I was all for inviting you to the art gallery and presenting, but as soon as you said that you just find things through AI, I was like,
It's real art, though.
and no, I know it's real art,
These
but
are your artists.
I know.
This is your audience. And they don't like AI.
but it
We like
made
it,
me
but not
hesitant that when you present something that is you just find under AI, it's like, am I going to have a little bit of a hesitant in printing out something that there is that like hesitancy for now.
I have a question about your hesitation though. Is he's using, please correct me if I'm wrong here, but he's using ChatGPT or AI in general not as generative AI, but as a research tool
Right.
to discover art and make connections between the music and the art. I fully respect all of the work that you, me, all the other artists out there do, but how could he possibly walk into your gallery and see a piece that's done by a local artist and know that that piece relates to a music?
Right.
piece?
Put it
And how do you do
backwards.
that?
If you were doing an art blog and you wanted music to go with the art, right? So it's the opposite kind of what I'm doing.
So
You wanted to-
how old
you
are
wanted to
these
come to-
pieces?
go ahead.
Are these like are these
Microphone.
old pieces?
Yeah, I can't
Or
hear you.
Are these old pieces?
The
or
music?
No, the paintings.
The paintings, it's actually quite good at finding paintings that were done at about the same time that in the same region that the music was composed.
Right.
I I think your hesitation of sometimes it's art that doesn't exist or who is the, that's where.
Well, however, I am doing my homework.
People at home watch it and they.
Yeah, so the way you hesitated a little bit when you said, I'm using ChatGPT, and sometimes the art is not going to be real art, or it's going to be something that was created. That disassociation is what bothered me a little bit, because it doesn't seem like it's always something that's really original from that period, or.
I'm doing my, okay, I get where you're coming from.
Yeah, I hear that.
I'm doing my homework. Okay? I don't include something that ChatGPT just dreamed up, right?
Yeah.
But sometimes I can kind of see where it's going, and I can kind of see like in the neighborhood of where it's going, and I'll dig deeper myself and go find something. Well, it's gone. But anyway, I get where you're coming from, and I also get that. Go to the second one, the second piece of art that's too big to actually fit on the screen. Yeah. I was blown away by that. I had no idea this existed. I am learning stuff. ChatGPT is teaching me about art, and it's also teaching me to think about music a little differently. There's value here. I don't have a problem going to an art expert, right, to find it. It's just that it's so convenient for me at 11:30 p.m. in a hotel room in Hangzhou, China, instead of calling somebody up. You see where I'm coming with this? It's a tool, and I don't think, and we have, there was that conference that Jason Gandy presented, yeah. I talked, some of those people were here, and I spoke to them in previous sessions here. The idea that ChatGPT is, and generative AI is taking something away from the artist, I totally get that, because generative music production is right around the corner. How many symphonies did Beethoven write? He wrote 9. They have used ChatGPT, and by the way, Haydn wrote 104. They're much shorter, obviously. But ChatGPT, they used ChatGPT to write Beethoven's 10th Symphony. And I listened to it, and I can hear how that could have been Beethoven's, but it's still, they're not parading it around as something that was written by Beethoven. This is a roundabout way of saying, I understand that artists feel threatened by ChatGPT for all kinds of reasons, excuse me. And I'm trying to be sensitive to it. I get it, and I'm gonna maybe rethink where I get the art from in the future. Yes.
So my thought was that yeah, I have a much louder voice.
And it's your sound system.
Yeah. So my thought is this could be kind of solve both problems here. I have been in the debate of AI. I own a record label, and have been starting to use it for posters, which is not creating art, but creating a service for us. However, now we're not paying our artists who made our posters. So that is, I think, the big thing is that if it is generative, then the point of being an artist starts to dissipate, because it will have to be a hobby. You cannot make money with it, because you could just, in your hotel room, go to ChatGPT and do all the things that you would be paying what I would consider a commercial artist to do. Like, obviously, just for expression, it's different. But I feel like maybe the middle ground here would be that if your problem is subscribership and you're looking to expand your listenership, I think that the collaboration would be the immediate thing to fix both of those problems. So I'm sure that there is someone doing something similar to what you are doing in the visual art world. In fact, I have a friend that just opened a conservatory in Hayesville, North Carolina that opens this weekend, and she does big conservatorships and that. Masters in visual art from UGA, and so there is definitely a community of visual artists who are interested in the conservation of the community of fine art, and even younger people who are very interested in continuing real, genuine art that is built on not ChatGPT or generated music. So I think that collaboration would also get their listenership, and then in my world, influencers. So find someone who's in your world, to plug your stuff and just say, hey, I listened to this, and just, they normally will do it for very little, if, for kind of just another ad or something, but a couple $100, say, hey, will you just mention this, and it will start to get the people that are already looking, listening, and interested in what you're doing, because I went to school for classical music. I'm very interested in what you're doing, so I would love it. And I think the ChatGPT thing kind of like fell off. I think you're using it as an organization tool, which is perfectly fine. I think that the debate about the art is not really what you're doing here. I just think that when you mention that, it automatically is going to get everybody's hairs raised as an artist and go, what do you mean AI? And then if you had a person who was respected in the space as a collaboration, they would be like, oh, even if you were using AI, you're using a visual artist, and there is an audio artist, and
Totally makes sense.
Yeah, so-
Thank you for all that.
yeah.
And to your, Kevin, I'll get to you in a second, to your first one. New technology is always disruptive. Going back to the invention of movable type printing, everybody lamented the fact that people's ability to memorize was going to evaporate, and they're right. Like, I don't remember directions anymore. It's turn, how did you get here? It turned right in 400 feet. That's how I got here. I don't know if that's at 54 or something. Like, and when books went from printing to electronic, that was disruptive. Everybody was like, how is this going to work? Come to find out that the industry has settled out 50-50. About half the people want the media in their hand, and half the people want it on the screen. As artists, and I am a musician, right? This is new, it's disruptive. It changes things. We're just going to have to live in the world that it is and not the world that we want to be, and just figure out how it's going to work out. That's fair for everybody. Right? That's what we're just all going to have to do. We can complain all we want, but it doesn't change the fact that it's there. And people are going to use it, people are going to abuse it. I'm trying to be as responsible as I can.
Thank you. So I want to subscribe, and I want to get someone I know at Emory Schwartz, Center for Performing Arts, to subscribe to. I think that they really like that.
Wonderful.
I think that WABE would be a great, if you're interested in promoting on the classical station, I think that would be an amazing audience. I think that we gave you some really great options too. My question for you, are you on any other social media platforms?
I am on Instagram. It's Arcane Aviation. I think if you search for Drop the Needle, you'll find it.
Okay.
I am on Twitter, or whatever it's called now.
X, I think.
Yeah.
Well, and my question relating to Instagram is I follow a couple music performers. One gentleman, I think he's a DJ, and he does these just posts about art, like new music sampling old music. And I think this would be really cool. Like, I love seeing where like these new artists are using, old, I don't know how much classical is going into it, but it has to be something. Or just more contemporary music using older classical songs. Like maybe you could do something like that. Like maybe I'll share this gentleman with you to show you what he
Sure.
does. But I think that would be an awesome addition on your Instagram, to get a different audience kind of traffic. So
And I kind of get Instagram, but I don't get Instagram.
okay.
Do you have a website?
Droptheneedle.substack.com.
Doc Video Substack. Okay. Because I just tried to find you and a bunch of stuff popped up. I didn't try that hard, so I'll try harder and see. In regards to the what do you call it, the AI stuff, I think what I heard is you have the passion, you're choosing the music, you're writing the content. You're just simply saying, hey, ChatGPT, is there a piece of art that would go well with this song and that type of stuff? I think maybe the learning from this experience is, look, I'm sorry, I'm not talking into the thing. We're all in business, right? And we don't let people see everything that goes on behind the curtain. We don't. It would piss half of them off. So, I think the only thing that you might want to take away from this is when you're doing future presentations, if the artist community is already half foot in the door, and you've seen their reaction to ChatGPT, don't bring it up. Keep it a secret.
Be like a mini skirt, be revealing, but don't show everything.
Yeah, think of Wizard of Oz. Wizard of Oz, we keep some stuff behind. I'll take it to her, is that okay? Keep some stuff, shh.
And Kevin, real quick, something you said. This music is almost all of it is in what's called the Western tradition, right? Bach, Beethoven, Sibelius, all of that stuff. The origin of all of that stuff, you know what it is? It's Gregorian chant. And Elvis and Lizzo and almost all that stuff that we listen to right now, it started with Gregorian chant. There's a straight line from that.
I know Lizzo is very, very fluent.
Yeah, she's kind of she's very versatile, and she's only showing you one part of what she can. She's only commercializing one part of what she can do.
Just one comment then about the presentation. I think it's totally okay to talk about ChatGPT. I think we all are learning and artists are embracing, I am in many ways. I think what just threw me off is when you said that sometimes it's not real art, and how would you know if you're not the expert? So if you had someone just screening it for you, I think it would make this whole subject really go in a different direction.
Okay, makes sense. And then I have, in order to, when it suggests a piece of art, I have to go and find it. And when I can't find it, that's the dead end right there. That's the tell. I might want to send you the ChatGPT, just that section where it said, well, this piece of music, you need to go with this piece of art, and I go to find it, and then I ask it. It's like, I'm not finding anything, right? And then it gets kind of fussy and a little temperamental. Anyway, I am not including stuff that doesn't actually exist, that isn't by an actual artist.
I know this would be a whole nother level for you to learn. Sorry to everyone out there. I would not be interested. I love music. I would not read that. That's just me, okay? But when I sat there and watched your enthusiasm, watched how you show these interesting things like the right to Rolling Stones, I actually would love for you to play music, talk about it, show it, get deep, and I'd actually be really interested in that. So it got me thinking, that's more of a visual thing. If you could look at posting videos, even done with your phone, on YouTube, let the algorithms help find these people for you. I know that's a whole other process, takes time. Use those algorithms that those platforms have to help find these people for you. But I'm sure there's tons of people who love to read it, but there's also a lot of people who feed off of your energy and passion.
I appreciate that, and that's why the reaction video that I want to do with my friend in Decatur and Avondale Estates, I can't wait for that to see how that's going to shake out.
Yeah, my thought reiterates that. I think that what you've got as a model is fantastic. I would love for this to be a podcast and for your co-host to be the art side of it, where you can both talk about how the two relate to each other. And I absolutely love that the piece that ChatGPT is finding for you is from the same era. It speaks to what was happening in the world at that time. There's just so much. One of my favorite classes in my BFA path was art history. I don't remember any of it now, but I loved sitting in those dark auditoriums looking at slides of pictures of pieces and then hearing all about the artists and what was happening at the time and what caused them to create it and the feeling behind it. I was a visual artist. I never got any of that education on the music side of things. So I'd be interested in that by itself, but then to pair it, I think it's fantastic. So
Thanks.
I started way late. I had no idea that we were going to be this into all of this, and I love it. Again, as always, if you have to leave, feel free, but I'm gonna keep going, however long this takes. But I feel like
And thank you guys so much.
your ask is, the first thing that you said is that you are a pilot, you found yourself unemployed for a while, you wanted to create something that could potentially create revenue for you, and it has just not happened. That you have this group, I don't know, you read off something very quickly, I don't know how engaged that group is, but to Ms. Doris's question is like the value that you're bringing, they're clearly not leaving the group, but the engagement levels might be down. And I do wonder as a marketer what you could be doing to kick that back up. And it could very well be, the answer I think is in video. People love to engage with videos. and your energy is you may or may not be comfortable on camera, but I have this special privilege of being a part of a Facebook chat group that he invited me into, and we get pictures of, I don't know, 40,000 feet in the air of contrails, of other, I mean, it's
Mount Fuji.
of Mount Fuji from it's incredible. I love it, right? I'm engaged. We're all engaged. People are now like in the group, like, this is so great. Thank you for all this education, and they love it. And I think that's a testament to what you need to be doing in your group, but from this perspective, and the value that you bring to them then is going to unlock the need for more, which of course would then drive them to the Substack site.
I appreciate all that. Apparently, part of the gumbo is that I arrived Sunday afternoon. I woke up in Hangzhou, China. That's why I wasn't at night market. Anyway, I got here Sunday afternoon after being awake for about 30 hours. My body still doesn't know what time it is, so apparently that's part of the magic here. So stand in front of you with. Anyway, I appreciate all of that, and I'm gonna go home and think. We got another hand raised up there. I'm gonna go home and think.
I know you can't do this, David. Right?
Yeah, David.
But I'm gonna say it anyway.
Knock yourself out.
I would have subscribed right now. Why the F doesn't Substack let you do it from the app? That is the stupidest model I've ever heard.
Well, I don't write the app, and
No,
I
I
just.
know. I'm yelling at Substack. I would put a card on top right now. This is exactly what I would do this in a heartbeat. But I can't do it from the app. I would subscribe right now.
You went and downloaded the Substack.
I went through the whole process with the intention of subscribing, paid subscribing right now.
That's wild.
You cannot do it with your goddamn app. You can do this. That is the dumbest app.
You can use any email marketing software out there. You don't need to stick with them if you don't like it.
Subscribe to, like, on the website, it could have been easier. I'm shocked.
Shocked, bro. Literally,
That's too bad.
Getting the
But for what it's
I'm
worth,
getting
nobody else in the
money.
room
Give
knew
me
what
money.
Substack
It's going
was.
up. Can't do it right now.
No one in the room knew what Substack was.
Oh, I know what Substack is. I don't subscribe. Actually, I did that. I should raise my hand. Because I've got 6 or 7 free subscriptions. Okay, I do. So I'm very familiar with Substack. But what I didn't know is you can't pay for it. You can't pay for a subscription to the app. That's crazy. I'm glad you went to the website. Now I want to do that. That's why. Put that in your suggestion.
I will.
I'm not expecting you to affect change in Substack.
Okay,
That was great. Thank you.
while you were speaking, one item did come to mind. Because you're building a community, people will participate in the community and pay if you're saying the subscription model helps to provide quality service and build to the next level. If there's your story with it, and they understand why they're contributing, they're probably going to give you more. And so I think you just need to add that personal touch in there with your story and the reason why you're building it that you have explained today, and tie the subscription request to what you're doing, to your story. And so now, $5, I just want to help you. And so it becomes
Totally makes sense.
Great. All right. David, thank you for offering to fill in today. This was awesome.
Appreciate it.
We'll see everybody back here next week.